The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to the Earnestly Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Ernest EJ Chris, coming to you on a sunny but slightly chilly Thursday afternoon here in South Florida. On the line with us, of course, it's this week's Student Game Report. We're going with now 2 for 2 now the last 2 weeks. Kyle Nash, doing the game. What's up?
I mean, you finally got your stuff together. And, of course, when we move to Thursdays is when all hell breaks loose in the friggin' NFL, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I mean, we're actually a week from the melee in Cleveland last week between the Browns and Steelers. A lot going on. The Colin Kaepernick stuff we discussed a little bit before it actually happened. I guess you could add this in the notes today, too, the Kaepernick stuff real quick. Quickly, because you had texted me today when we were talking about the pre-show stuff, saying that you had a pretty strong take on the Steelers-Browns aftermath. Of course, we know suspensions that came out. Myles Garrett suspended indefinitely, which could mean obviously the rest of this year, probably part of next year. Who knows? Who's it else? You got Marcus Pouncey out 3 games, 2 more games now left, a suspension. Oh, 3 more. No, I'm sorry, 3 more games left because he has 3 games because they played last week. So, and then like the other guy's name, I forgot his guy's name from the Browns who pushed him. The guy pushed him into Mason Rudolph.
He pushed Rudolph from behind.
Right, 1 game for him. I forgot his name. I can't pronounce his name right now off the on track. But we haven't talked since then. We haven't talked since that all this has happened. So I guess I laid out my piece of the whole situation a couple days ago. Kyle, the floor is yours.
So basically, pretty much everything the NFL has done, I'm spot on with. Like before Pouncey got suspended, I was saying 2 games, they delivered 3. You know what? I'm good with that. The Browns defensive tackle that got suspended for pushing Rudolph from behind got exactly what he should have. Myles Garrett is being handled 100% perfect. Most importantly, David DeCastro, the Steelers guard that put himself on top of Garrett to defuse the situation, not getting any suspended games, was bloody perfect, and I'm glad to see it. Now, here's the part where I'm going to piss everybody off. Anybody who thinks Mason Rudolph should serve a suspension is wrong, and they should feel bad about themselves, okay? Say what you will about the efforts where he's allegedly trying to pull off Myles Garrett helmet, which, to be honest, it does look very much like that, even though it took me 4 viewings of the incident to actually see it. You do need the camera angle that comes from the back of the end zone to really see that. That's just a fact. But I asked you this, Ernest DJ Christian. Most of the people didn't actually see the initial incident when it happened because Myles Garrett drilled Mason Rudolph into the ground so late to play what was already taking place downfield. In other words, he drove Myles Garrett into the ground late. An illegal play in and of itself, but something that was also taking place late in the game where the Browns were doing stuff. Fortunately, the advantage I have on your show is I can express it as exactly what it is. Myles Garrett made that hit to start shit, period. And you're going to put it on Rudolph. That's dumb. It's a bad take, and anyone who sees it differently has not explained beyond a reasonable doubt in my mind why that's wrong.
Admittedly, I was on the Rudolph getting 1 game suspension. Admittedly, at the time, I think I backed off now a little bit on that since then. Seeing, and again, this is the problem with people in media, people in general, that they lock into a narrative or lock into a thought process, and they don't change. You're allowed to change your mind based on information that comes in. If you get more information and you say, oh, okay, then I think differently now. That's allowed. This is the record. And based on the footage, I think I got a little too excited about that at the time. I was in 1 game, but they got it right. The fine's enough. I'll
say this. Right. Had they suspended Rudolph, I wouldn't have been angry about it per se. But if I'm the commissioner, the statement that's wrong is everybody saying that Rudolph started the fight, and that's just completely inaccurate. If Myles Garrett does not drive Mason Rudolph into the ground, there is no melee, period.
Right. And looking at it with more hindsight and more information and watching the film, days after everything's calmed down, yes, they got everything. Everything was correct across the board. And it's really sad too because I came away from the game saying this, and look, it's more than likely the Browns will make the playoffs. But at the time when they won that game, they were only a game back of the next team of the wild card at the time.
Right.
And now Myles Garrett, who's arguably your best player, I'll say straight up, he's their best player this year on their roster. You lose him.
That is position.
Any chance you had to make the postseason died right there. And I'm not saying they're going to get in, but again, there's a little bit of a mess on the bottom of the AFC wildcard race. Now, obviously, last week Buffalo winning and Indy winning sort of cleaned up some of the mess a little bit. Oakland winning too, a little bit of cleanup there. But there was an opportunity there, lost to the Browns. And now with that, because of this situation, they should fade away to oblivion the rest of the year, in my opinion, anyway.
So let me ask you the last question on this, because I've seen this happen on social media.
Go ahead.
So the fact that I said I saw it on social media should tell you everything you need to know. But I'm going to ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it ridiculous to have made this whole situation with Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph and the suspensions something that's rooted in race?
I have not. I may have seen some of that to some degree on social media, but again, as you just said, it is social media, so take it for what you will. Take it with not just a grain of salt, a grain of dirt. Honestly, because it's really
that's a ridiculous take, right?
It's so ridiculous that if you're somebody who's like of some sort of like influence that actually wants to change for positivity, and you had that take, you'd be called a fraud at that point.
Okay, that works for me. Moving on.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, again, not everything's about race sometimes. And at some point, if you're trying to change the world and trying to influence others to not be racist or not think this way, bring something like that is not the way to do it. You're going to turn people off, and people are going to get numb to your bullshit. So, the same. And I say that as a black man, for the record. Anyway, moving on.
Why do you think I had you answer the question, EJ Christian?
Well, I'm also one of the most. I'm not to toot my own here, but fuck it, I'll do it anyway. It's my show. I'm one of the most middle of the road, moderate, common sense thinkers in the world. Like, I don't look at everything in one glass, in one bubble. You look at I take in information first, and then come with a decision on that. I have my opinions on things, and that's fine. That's an opinion. It doesn't mean it's fact. But I like to pride myself as somebody who base opinions on facts, or based on at least on information I have that seems to legitimize facts. That's my opinion.
No, I like how you describe yourself as middle of the road. Middle of the road, rather. I don't know that I would describe you as somebody who ascribes to common sense, because if that were the case, you would have made Russell Wilson the 2017 MVP. But I move on.
We are still on this. I can't. You know what, Kyle? You know what? You pain in my ass. Now, real quick, before we get on this topic, Myles Garrett did appeal. He had his hearing on Wednesday, as it's recording as yesterday. I actually tweeted last week, and granted, maybe it's heat of the moment, that I said, furthermore, if Myles Garrett were to appeal this suspension, he is a bigger asshole than you thought. Now, that being said, because the fact that NFL made it an indefinite suspension, there's no number on it, there's no actual number of games, whatever. That's the reason why I feel like that makes sense for him to appeal it. Otherwise, my original thoughts don't press.
I don't agree. The terms of the suspension were the rest of the season, and before reinstatement next season, you need to meet with the commissioner. And I would believe it would be at that time that they would get a number of games. So, to be honest, to appeal it actually makes him look bad, period. Okay? Because all that happens is the press is now forced to go, hey, you bashed someone over the head and you think you have the audacity to appeal it. A, B, you're a repeat offender in this season alone as far as being ejected from games for unsportsmanlike conduct. The smart move would have been to finish out the season, because here's the truth, folks, and I think he's smart, or his people should be smart enough for this, that he's going to get the rest of the season, period, no ifs, ands, or buts. And then when he goes for reinstatement, time served, the Cleveland media and the like want you to believe that he is, this super nice guy and all this stuff. Let time for that to actually soak into the narrative, whether it's true or not. And then, when you're in Goodell's office, that decision gets made and you have the positive press on your side. Now, you just look like a dipshit.
Good point. Real good point. I stand corrected. Moving on. All right. I'll hit on this real quick because I just have to, and it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing here because I got a couple of friends of this pod that are big fans of this team, so I got to acknowledge that real quick. The Red Hot Falcons. I told everybody, spoiler of the second half of the year. They're not getting to the playoffs, obviously. The NFC is pretty much a lock, other than a couple teams, playoff-wise. But the Falcons, spoiler, blew out New Orleans 2 weeks ago on the road. Blew out Carolina, a team that you were telling me last week, don't give them this yet. Well, I buried them again this week because the Falcons did it for me this week. Red Hot Falcons, spoiler. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody that plays the Falcons of the year, look out.
Well, listen, as far as being spoilers go, the Dirty Birds, in fact, have a history of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, weren't they the 15-1 in the Carolina Panthers 15-1 season before they went to the Super Bowl? I mean, this is kind of what they do. Unfortunately, the Falcons and their fans seem to have forgotten the idea is to make the playoffs, not to spoil it for other people. You're still sitting at home looking like a jackass watching the Saints play in the playoffs, period.
No, you got a point there. Obviously, it makes you look at like, wow, what could we have been if we actually had won some of those games early in the year? What could have been?
Like what could have been if you didn't give up a 28-3 lead, for example?
Oh, jeez, we're still doing that. We're still doing 23.
Oh,
that's still a thing.
I am now that the Falcons fans feel like they have the right to talk for winning these 2 games. Somebody has to remind them the season is far longer than 2 games.
Well, tell your boy Danny Thompson that he's getting kind of chatty again. He's 3-7.
And by the way, speaking of things that have happened with the Falcons, when did Vic Beasley decide to be a thing again?
Yeah, you noticed that too? Yeah, I was like, I heard his name in 2 years.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know for a damn. Listen, our good friend Danny Thompson came into the studio when I was guesting with him on 98.5, doing Beyond the Buzzer, and he was drinking some milk, and Vic Beasley's name was on the goddamn carton.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, it's so great. So great. I don't know.
Shameless plug and a joke. That's called talent. Anyway.
Hey, hashtag talent. Let's go. Okay. What have we here? I'll talk about also on the list. I mean, obviously, we don't obviously. Well, you do sometimes. At least when you make fun of me, but my fandom. But your fandom is the Niners, of course. Personally, big game. Now the test begins for 91 Niners this week because there's a lot of people like myself who are still. They're a good team. They're a playoff team. But I don't know how good they are. I don't know what their ceiling is because, I mean, I'm not saying they've had a Patriots schedule, but they haven't had the toughest schedule in the world either. Well, the next month or so, we're going to know a lot about this team. Because this week, big showdown against the Green Bay Packers. You got Baltimore on the horizon, too. New Orleans on the horizon. Yep. Spoiler Falcons, I think, also on that schedule. I'm not mistaken. Rams and Seahawks. Yeah. So, that being said, biggest game of the week by far. Who you like in this game?
Well, first of all, let's be clear. I want to be 100% obvious. I'm not going to be someone like some of the Seattle Seahawks fans you have on your feed that are complete homers. They're so homer that they bought Disney Plus just to watch the fucking Simpsons, okay?
That's true.
What I'm trying to say is this. To open the season, the Niners did have the Patriots schedule. And then they played Carolina and won. And then they played against the Seahawks and had a good shot to win until they missed the field goal and let Rusty do what Rusty does. There's a reason why he's a clear and present 2019 MVP. I said it. But, yeah, to your point, you're absolutely right. Fortunately for the Niners, I feel like they only need to win one more game to assure playoff glory. But fighting for the division, it is not a lock yet. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
Seattle has a tiebreaker right now currently. Although I will say again, I'm not. Although my stance did change last week when we spoke on the show last time. I don't think Seattle's as good as the record is. I think I guess we'll say it again. Russ Wilson is the reason why they're where they are right now.
Hey, listen, just like in 2017 and any other year after the Super Bowl victories.
This is a playoff-like game. This is going to be a playoff-like atmosphere. I mean, this is great because there's still a bit of a – although we know who the NFC teams are, like who obviously the playoff teams are, I think we're still on the fence about which team is the best in the conference and going down. Like, I mean, gun to my head, I'll say New Orleans, but you lost Atlanta the way you did 2 weeks ago. That's kind of scary. Granted, that can be a wake call also too, so we'll see. Green Bay has shown moments to be really good, but again, the defense be a little overrated. San Fran, like I said, I mentioned San Fran already. Who's the other team in the NFC? Seattle. Again, I'm not really big on Seattle necessarily as a team. I love Russ. Dallas is always in the mix, but Dallas is Dallas.
And I tried to warn you about the Vikings too.
Well, they won the game last week, though. I mean, again,
and they're damnedest not to, didn't they? Let's be honest.
No, you're not wrong there. But again, in the past, like last year, they were lost. Like, remember, I compared that game to the Buffalo game last year, where they were favored by 15, 16 points, and not only did they got blown, they were down big. They lost that game in a blowout. This week at least they came back and took their business. So
that was the first comeback. The Vikings had the first comeback in the past 5 years where a team was down in the first half by 20 points to win. Of the 100 times that happened, 99 of them lost.
That's correct.
One was the Vikings.
Yes, there's a lot of question marks. I think a lot of these teams, like on top of the NFC, are flawed. But if you ask me who's most least flawed of the teams, I mean, gun in my head, New Orleans. But again, is Drew Brees going to be the same Drew Brees in the playoffs? Remember last year he faded out in December, January. So
I don't know how you can say New Orleans with the way we've analyzed Drew Brees and how we plan on him to be missing late in the season.
Well, he missed part of the year, so maybe he got
rest.
maybe he got some rest. Maybe he got. I don't know. I don't know. But again, I think the gap between San Fran and all these teams are very minuscule at this point. It goes 5 deep. It goes 5 deep. And then I'm not gonna say Dallas is a top tier team, but Dallas, Dak's playing great, and they have a really good roster. So this is, and even though Philly looked like crap last week, I'm not ready to come out this yet. So
I mean, do the Cowboys really have a good roster? Other than Amari Cooper and Randall Cobb, can you name a Cowboys receiver?
Well, we were saying for a couple of years that it was good roster, okay to average quarterback. Now that's kind of flipped a little bit this year. The quarterback is playing really good football.
It's the coach that sucks.
Well, the coach. No. The coach always sucked. The coach always sucked. He's never been good. I mean, you've been going on this whole thing with Garrett for about 7 years long. I've been going for at least 5. So, I mean, I don't know.
This is the best way I could show appreciation for your answer.
There you go.
That's me clapping.
I hear that. So we're gonna get some answers this weekend to some degree on Niners Packers. And we'll go from there. Now, I know I did shock you last week. I posted on social media about Tom Brady, and I confessed. Well, I don't know if it's a confession. I mean, it's been pretty obvious most of the year that he doesn't look the same. Granted, he's 42 years old. There's no precedent for this.
Wait a minute. You mean they didn't catch the hacker?
No, I did type that. I did.
You mean they didn't catch the hacker? What happened?
It's funny. Like when I said that, a couple of Pats fans get on my case saying, "Oh no, just stop it. What are you talking about?" Like
they obviously don't listen to your show.
Exactly. Like you do understand I'm one of the biggest Brady homers on the planet. So yeah, I'm not going from a place of hate.
You and your wife are still getting over your fetish and how much it's affected the marriage, right?
I almost
realize that.
I almost typed that. I was like, you understand that my wife almost left me because Tom Brady. But I'm not going to say But yeah, I confessed on my podcast or whatever. But let's be real here. And I'm not saying he sucks, but most of the season he's been, average at best. And that didn't change on Sunday against Philadelphia.
Which, by the way, that very fact that you mentioned, that defense has been winning the games like you've been talking about. Granted, the schedule is crap, but for the Coach of the Year award, the bar starts at Belichick. You have to have done something that impresses me more than what Belichick's done with the Patriots this year if you want to be Coach of the Year, simply put.
Yeah, I'm actually on the same realm with you, too, because the tougher games, Buffalo, Philadelphia, where the margin of error is very small, and yet they somehow find a way to. I'm not saying Buffalo's a top tier team.
You
Buffalo,
didn't just say Buffalo. Let me help you with that. You got the wrong beat.
Well,
Baltimore. Right?
They lost that game, so that's different. The games they won, I'm saying.
Philly Buffalo had three turnovers for Christ's sake.
No.
Okay?
I agree. No. Again, the defense. What I'm saying is, Buffalo is still 7-3. You gotta give some sort of credence. I don't blame the Bills long term. I'm just saying, but the 7-3, 7-3. That's it. And so I think with those games where they've almost lost, Buffalo or Philadelphia, the margin of error has been very, very small, and the defense doesn't carry that. And again, that's a credit to Belichick.
Yeah.
Which now begs the question: who's the bigger value overall, Belichick or Brady? Oh boy, we've had a discussion.
I've been saying Belichick for a while, so that's an easy answer for me.
Well, I mean, the fact that he's been successful on the quarterbacks without Brady, it tends to lean that way a little bit, and that's not taking from Tom Brady either, because again, Bill Walsh, Montana, same thing. Value there both ways. But.
You keep talking about that offense stuff. Listen, bro, even the great Tom Brady hasn't won Super Bowls without a great defense accompanying it, simply put.
That's true. But do I think this is going to impact the team moving forward? Well, if you think that Baltimore is a roster is better than New England, or maybe even Kansas City, if you get the shit together, is better, then yeah, it could. But the good thing for right now for the Pats is they still got a game up on Baltimore in the conference in terms of record. So they're still in a position where, as long as they do their job, they'll have everything go to Foxborough. But we'll see if New England and Baltimore, if when they meet again in the playoffs, if that can be an issue. Because I was on the opinion that they meet again, the Pats will figure it out, adjust, and shut down Lamar. But that of course, is, I don't know. That looks a little harder than I realized.
I'll put it this way. If I don't see a scenario where Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens win that football game and all questions about his throwing ability aren't completely answered.
Yeah, well, he's 42. So, again, when Pats fans get mad about what I'm saying here, it's not a knock. There's no precedence for this. This is supposed to happen. Tom Brady is the absolute anomaly of anomalies in terms of being this good.
Why is it okay to call Phillip Rivers old, but when you hint that Tom Brady might be aging, it's a slight? I don't understand that.
Because it's embedded in us to think that Tom Brady is perfect. That's why. That breaks you.
I mean, well, it's embedded in you, but then you said he wasn't, which leads me back to being confused. But I digress.
Well, I mean, again, you're sitting here accusing me, but I'm here acknowledging the flaws right now. Even my buddy, friend Boston Jack, have admitted to me this week. Yeah, he looks old.
Wow.
So there you go. And he's a fucking humongous Pats homer. So. Whoa.
Boston Jack is a Pats homer? Never would have guessed.
Yeah. We actually got a discussion earlier today on text about the MVP, and I guess I texted you earlier in the week, and I still feel the same way now. And we broke it down to tiers, the MVP race. And to me, as of Sunday, it's really a two-man race with two other tiers of players that we can consider to be in the race. But to me, there's only two players right now on tier one in this race. And after last week, there's no question Lamar Jackson is in the conversation right now with Russell Wilson. Are you still on McCaffrey? Have you changed a little bit now post Houston? The Houston game against Baltimore.
Well, no, and after Atlanta's win over the Panthers, and that went the way it did, you have to take McCaffrey's stack down significantly, right? And in Jackson's case, sure, he has probably one of, if not the best offensive lineman on his roster, and he has Mark Ingram helping him. He has a pretty good defense helping him as well. But with the fact that he's a Ute, should come into play here too, and I'm kind of with you today. If you pick Lamar Jackson as your second choice, you're just fine. Right. Of course, all the rest of this is just posturing for Russell Wilson to be given the award. But here's what I'm worried about happening: is so many people have talked about Lamar Jackson in the press because he's so different and so new, even though Russell Wilson's been doing it for years before him, without an offensive line, I might add. I'm very worried the press will do the wrong thing again and give it to Lamar Jackson.
And that's the problem, too, with Russell. You know what I last week I said about Russell Wilson? I compare Russell Wilson to Tim Duncan. He's not interesting. Even though his play is actually kind of flashy because he's a mobile quarterback, he's not that flashy a quarterback, if you think about it.
Don't confuse exciting with flashy, right? Like watching Tim Duncan dunk, your pardon the expression, is still amazing, okay? Watching Russell Wilson escape is still amazing, but I would not call him flashy.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, he's flashy. I can see that too.
Right. Russell Wilson, though, is just, he's mobile, but he's fundamentally good. Like, he's one of those quarterbacks that's mobile, but knows when to slide. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't ever have to worry about Wilson, taking a big hit, knowing what's more value, getting the extra 2 yards in week 7, or going out of bounds and making sure you're healthy for your team for the rest of the year. Russell Wilson's the guy that'll go out of bounds.
If he's not on the field in the fourth quarter, he can't make that magic that he does have it.
Exactly. And people would ask me, well, is Lamar the MVP? And I go, he's definitely in the conversation. I'll say it again. The reason why I have Russ ahead of him right now still is because of the fact that Russell Wilson, why not flashy, has just been consistently good all year long. Not one bad game. Now, I will admit that Lamar's highs this year have been higher than Russ's, but his lows have been lower than Russ's also, too. So, I will take consistently.
Say the things to yourself, Russell Wilson lost to the Browns. You can't do it.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you there. So I have it right now broken down in 3 tiers, and you can join me with this on this as well too. Tier 1,
sure.
Obviously, you and I agree. At this point right now, it's two-man race between Russ and Lamar, right?
Russell, Cantankerous Wilson,
right.
Absolutely,
right.
Number 1,
and Lamar Jackson in that same tier with him.
L. Jackson 2, right?
Tier number 2 for me is going to be now Deshaun Watson, Christian McCaffrey, and that's it. What's your tier 2?
Okay. I'm good with that. And as a matter of fact, as tiers go for me, it's really those 4 guys. You can make some noise maybe for Aaron Rodgers, but as far as I'm concerned, that's where it would stop.
So just McCaffrey, that's it? McCaffrey and Watson?
McCaffrey and Watson, and then if you have to have a third tier, I'd say Aaron Rodgers.
Tier 3 for me, as I told you earlier today, who just entered, is Dak Prescott. He's in tier 3 now.
Stop it.
He's in tier 3.
Stop it.
Dak Prescott.
Stop it.
No, well, tier 3 is resident 3 players. It's Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, and Dalvin Cook.
So, I mean, that's adorable you're putting Dalvin Cook in there, and he belongs in there ahead of Dak. But stop it.
Well, whatever order it is, I don't consider that wasn't necessarily an order either. The bottom 3, that wasn't an order. It's just the tiers. Because right now,
I can't put Dak in there yet.
Why?
That's all about cash. That's 100% a team effort. Amari Cooper, Jason Witten, Randall Cobb, Ezekiel Elliott, and one of, if not the best O-line in the freaking NFL, and a defense that's a pretty darn good.
I'll say when I texted you earlier, you triggered.
Listen, you could do a lot more than that to trigger. You call this trigger?
No, I'm saying when you said get the fuck
out. No, that was a funny gift.
Like
Listen, you pull a few gifts out of your ass. Though I still think it's odd that as an FSU fan, you have the audacity to use rock gifts all the time.
Well,
you have no right.
Yeah, but I'm the exception to the
rule. Hey, listen, wait till your team's bowl eligible before you talk that kind of trash. #burn.
One more win. We're there again.
Yeah. Scrape them together, bitch. There ain't no guarantees.
How sad is it now how sad is this that a 6-win year for the Seminoles is actually, oh my God, baby, back in the bowl game. How far are we?
I cover a program where Power 5 teams sell T-shirts on the event of beating them.
That's true. Good point. So, Dak, look, is Dak in the MVP race in the real race? No, but he's definitely a tier 3 guy, in my opinion.
Okay, great.
What about Kirk Cousins? What about Kirk Cousins?
What about? Well, stop it. Now you're trying to trigger me. You like that?
You like that? I do. I do. Finally, before I let you go, we do this every week now, this time of year. Playoff locks. I feel better about my NFC side right now than I did before. There's no question.
Your NFC side is almost solid, except your belief in the Vikings is just very premature.
I'm
You're
locking
really young to have that problem.
I have 5 locks. I'm gonna say it again. NFC side.
Okay.
5
okay,
locks.
okay.
Here we go. Ready to go? Packers.
Yep.
Whether or not they win divisional wild cards is regardless. The playoff team. So Packers.
This is just a playoff lock. Yeah.
Playoff lock. Packers a playoff team, whether they win a wild card or win a division. Vikings.
Okay.
Lock. Saints.
You're
lock.
high.
Saints
lock.
are a lock. Saints a lock. Niners a lock.
I agree.
And Seahawks a lock. That is it.
You know what? I'm going to sign off on that. That's risky, but I'm going to sign off on that. Except for the Vikings. You're out of your fucking gourd.
So you got 4. You have 4 locks then.
I do have 4 locks.
Here's the problem.
It's the Niners, Saints, Packers, and Seahawks.
The problem is the closest team to them, to the Vikings now to grab a wild card, is the Rams. And they're 2 back and struggling. The Panthers lost again this week. I know you saw that. They lost again. So now they're 3 back in the Vikings.
Right.
So you have now 6 weeks to go and a two-game lead over the Rams. And the Rams still have a tough schedule ahead of them, too.
I'm sorry. Are you ruling out the Vikings melting down?
No, I think after what I saw last week, I'm more confident that they're close the deal. So 5 locks.
So
I'm
you
good.
are ruling out a meltdown. You're saying it's not going to happen.
Not
100%.
gonna happen. No, 100% not going to happen.
Okay.
You can slap me. You can slap me in the back of my head if it happens.
Make sure you say again.
Yeah.
If it happens.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle, they're 8-3 right now. They're 8-3.
Okay.
Just saying.
Hey, listen. They've been 6-0 before and missed the fucking playoffs.
I know. I get it.
Okay.
So you go 4 locks, right? So your locks are Seattle, San Fran, New Orleans, and Green Bay.
Green Bay, yes,
That's
sir.
it. So you basically have 2 spots open for the still. Okay. My AFC locks, obviously New England, duh. Obviously Baltimore. I'm still saying Houston because Houston will take. Well, I think as long as Watson's healthy, they'll be fine. So I'm a lock still. And Kansas City's a lock for me still. I still think Kansas City, big wins against the Chargers this week. They'll take. I think they run the division the rest of the way, and that's it. So I got 4 locks in the AFC: Chiefs, Patriots, Ravens, Texans. Everybody else, I can't.
The only reason why the Chiefs are still a lock is because the rest of the division is more unreliable than they are. Right.
I'm a week.
It's funny
I will say this real quick.
If the Vikings blow that game, anyways.
I'm a week away from blocking Buffalo. I'm one more week away from blocking Buffalo.
Oh, come on.
It depends on the nature of the AFC wildcard race, though. Let's see if the Raiders lose this week, if Tennessee loses this week, and the Raiders win again. Then it comes to a situation where, like, okay, Buffalo's at least had that 5 spot locked.
Yeah, all right, but I don't know, man. I don't know what it is, but I have, and it's dumb, but I have the feelings the Titans have an opportunity to make some noise, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just my theorem that a good line leads to Ryan Tannehill performing. I'm not telling you he's a world beater. Let's not get stupid. But I think the Titans have the pieces to sneak in, kind of like the Chargers in 2006 or whatever it was, whatever year it was. Not 6, but was it 2016 maybe? I don't know. Anyways.
2015, I think it was.
15? Okay.
Maybe. Do you want to go to the schedule real quick and see this? The schedule? We can do that right now if we want to. I have it in front of me. So, this week they play the Jaguars. Then the Colts.
Who is this you're talking about?
The Titans. Because, by the way, I also, last week, I didn't lock them, but they were my number 6 team in the AFC wildcard race. The wildcard.
Yeah, both of us did that.
Yeah.
Both of us.
However, this schedule looks actually tougher than we think now on paper. Look at this. Oh, my God. This schedule's tough, though. If they get in there, they will earn this. So, this week's the easiest game of the rest of the way. The Jaguars. Which is always a tough game. It's a tough game always because there's no opponent. Then Indy. Then at Oakland. Then at home against Houston. Then home against New Orleans. And then on the road against Houston.
Okay. So understand the AFC South is where you say they're going to be having a tough time. They're going to beat the Jags, I feel like. Okay. You're right. For some reason, the Titans are tough for the Colts. That's a struggle. I see them also potentially blowing both Houston games. However, because the Saints game is as late as it is, and that offensive line for the Titans is as good as they are, that is not a lock.
That could be a nasty game for New Orleans too, because
I'm
Tennessee's
trying to
weak.
tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, this could be. This should be an 8-8, 9-7 situation here. Like, I think you look at the schedules of all these teams. I mean, Tennessee right now on paper has one of the toughest ones going forward. But again, I like what they're doing with Tannehill. They're good in the trenches, and they are ripe for beating teams like they are ripe for picking off teams like New Orleans, and even Houston to some degree. Maybe one of the Houston games. We'll see. I don't know. That's gonna be tough. That's a schedule though. That's definitely they would have earned it if they get in. So, but Tennessee,
it's tough. But it's not as tough. It's not as tough as like let's say the end of the Niners schedule or wrapping up with the Patriots schedule.
Right. So I got 4 locks in the AFC. What do you got in the AFC?
I got 4 locks too. I of course have your top 2 seats. Those are clearly going to be New England and Baltimore. Mm-hmm. I have also, at this point, I'm compelled to still pick the Chiefs, though that may actually be the lock I get incorrect this year with the way that's going. I mean, they're still winning games. That's the important
7-4. They won a game last week, so.
And the 4th team, whether, I have Houston as a lock, too, but that's assuming they win the division. And if the Titans get in there and beat them enough to take them down, I'll put it this way. If the Texans make the wild card, they'd have done so by knocking the Titans out and the Colts ascending.
Right. That's why last week was important, because Colts winning last week, and whatnot. Raiders winning last week. Again, had those teams lost and the Browns are a game behind, all of a sudden, it gets kind of interesting down the bottom. That's what I'm saying. That's why that.
And one last thing, EJ Christian, while we're on the topic.
Mm-hmm.
This week, for the first time since week 1, you did not make a complete ass of yourself with your top 5 picks. Now, granted, in week 1, you were still doing top 10, and you didn't handicap yourself, or rather make your job easier by cutting half the slate out in week 1. But your top 5, I signed off on your top 5 this past week.
And you know what's funny, though?
Now, granted, it's the same it was the week before, but a few more games happened that made things fall into place.
Well, it's funny. Like the one thing I will say that I'm still kind of on the fence about is swapping Seattle and New Orleans, because New Orleans did beat Seattle earlier in the year. Let's be clear about that. And yet I have New Orleans behind Seattle on the list.
Well,
I think it's more Russell Wilson.
New Orleans is not the same team either. Let's be clear.
Oh, that's true. So anyway, Kyle, that was fun as always. Anything to promote before you go?
Amen. Honor, joy, privilege. Always glad to be aboard. Listen, I don't know if you've had a chance to check it out yet, but Hilarity by Default is doing a retrospective of the '90s TV show Briscoe County Jr.
Wow.
Listen, Bruce Campbell, bitches. All right, that's all I should have to tell you. Check out the show, and then check us out at Hilarity by Default on Default Assault. Doing that, so that's a good time all the way around. Of course, I'm still doing night class, talking about UCF football by way of Sports Media Pass's iTunes account.
That's right. No, not iTunes. Apple Podcasts. iTunes is out of business now, so.
Whatever.
Just so you know. They're no longer around anymore.
And, of course, find my latest UCF stuff on sportsmediapass.com. And, of course, check out my work with oldschool101.com. I've been covering and studying the Magic, who basically got themselves back up to basically even, and then are now going through injury hell. So that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, you'd have been proud of me. I was doing analysis talking about free throws and things like that, talking with our good friend Danny Thompson on 98.5 here in the local area in Pine Hill. So
whoa.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. All right, Cal. I'll see you next week, guess. Busy guy.
Hey, man, I'm still glad you made time to slum it with me for a little bit. I know you're working. I know you got stuff. I know I don't talk about WWE and things like that.
It's okay.
But,
it's quite all right. Mixed up. It's okay.
Hey, so,
you do NBA
by the
now,
way, if you haven't, talking real quick on TV, I know you have Disney Plus. If you haven't watched the Baby Yoda show, a.k.a. The Mandalorian, you need to do it.
Lauren already watched it. She loves it.
Yeah. Well, she needs to tell you to step your game up.
Yeah, she does every day. Then she beats me up after that, so it's all good.
In a good way. I don't see you complaining. Anyways,
Pleasure, baby. Come on now.
I got to get back in the game, EJ Christian. But until next time, brother, class dismissed.
All right, on the line now, as you do Survivor Series 2019 preview with the man, G.W. Gras, beersbrawl.com. G, what's up?
What's going on, EJ?
Your beers suck, dude. Sorry. What should I say? Trubisky sucks.
No, it's going to be the battle of the suck this weekend when the Giants play the Bears.
That's right. You and I are playing this weekend. That's right.
Huh?
That's right. You and I, Giants and Bears.
I usually care. This year, I don't give a shit.
I'm literally watching Giant games solely for watching Daniel Jones develop. That's it. Other than that, I can give a fuck.
Or your version of develop.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, he has his moments. Again, ball control. I mean, you had to watch the pocket. But other than that, I think he's doing decent. Other than the turnovers, with the fumble.
I mean, he's better than Mitch Trubisky, but Bastille's like a one-arm retarded monkey. So.
Trubisky's bad, dude. Trubisky's so bad. I feel bad for him to some degree, but then I don't. So, I don't know.
No, I mean, I feel bad for him. At the end of the day, this is my team. I care more about the team than the individual player. So, it is what it is. And I was saying on the Bears Brawl podcast last night, like, the Bears window is next year, and that's it. After next year, that's it. Like, contracts, everything comes up. Most of his roster will be intact next year. And if you don't make a move at the quarterback position, then you're done. You wasted another good run, possibly, for the Chicago Bears.
Well, I believe the rumors. I think if you're the Bears and you really believe Trubisky, your guy going forward, go after Cam. You're gonna get Cam on a contract year. You get the best of Cam, hopefully. Might as well go for broke next year. I'm
100% behind that. 100% behind that.
So okay, let's get to the. We're here for Survivor Series this weekend. Now I have to admit, I've fallen behind a little bit on wrestling the last couple weeks, mostly on Raw and SmackDown. But I know what's going on. I've been following the recaps and all that, so it's not too hard to fall behind. I mean, WWE floods you with so much shit, it's not even funny. So you got the TakeOver this weekend, of course. We won't review, obviously, but we'll review the Survivor Series card, of course. Now, of course, they do this every week, the Cruiserweight Championship match, which you don't really care about, obviously, and quite frankly, I barely care about it only because I don't watch enough of it. But Leo Rush against Angel Garza. NXT Cruiserweight Championship.
Leo Rush used to be on the main roster, and I like Leo Rush. So I root for Leo. He's actually a really good athlete, Leo Rush. So I root for him.
Very good. I think Leo wins it too. I think he retains. So there you go. That's my. I mean, it was funny. I'm actually watching more NXT now as I've getting to these last couple months and weeks and stuff. But okay, let me see here. Is this the TakeOver section? Hold on. I guess I'm mixing up the NXT matches too. Okay. They haven't announced the NXT Championship match yet. That'll be obviously a TakeOver, I believe, to Adam Cole against whoever they announce. So, and the Kabuki Warriors and Sarah Logan were back down, which is Sasha Banks versus Team NXT, which they haven't announced yet. Or haven't announced here on this site. First off,
I mean, I'm glad Sarah Logan got in there, but it's really weird that she got in there because she's never on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad Sarah Logan got in there. I love Charlotte. I think Sasha pulls this off. Like, if Sasha needs something right now for her character, she needs to get some kind of W for her character. So I guess SmackDown team captain would do it. They gave her the new song where her cousin Snoop doing the intro for her. I kind of dig it too.
I gotta hear that. I heard that happen. But again, that happened last week. I didn't get a chance to hear it.
It's actually pretty cool. I'm with it. But
cool?
I'm actually pulling for it. I think Sasha Banks' team wins. Just makes more sense to have Sasha win that. So.
Well, I think also too Sasha being on. I think Sasha being on SmackDown too. I think she's being facilitated as their number one. Even though Bayley's the champion, you can't stand Bayley. Sasha is being set up right now as the top.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Female.
100%.
That's on purpose, obviously, in my opinion. So, I'm with you too. I think I'll take Sasha's team also as well too. I think they again, you and I agree on this. Charlotte losing matches doesn't matter anymore. She's already established. She's the GOAT. And she's definitely. I mean, WWE loves her. She's one of their
prize fighters, so that they'll definitely have a storyline for her. Like that'll have her give another championship run. I didn't like that real bullshit championship run they gave Bayley the belt. I thought it was real poorly constructed,
Right.
But whatever. Like Charlotte will get another championship run, and it'll be great, so it doesn't matter.
Right. Okay, hold on. My kid is crying. Give me a second. This is live radio. Come, buddy. Come on. Come. He's crying. You want daddy? Come. Never mind. Okay. All right. Next match here, we're going to have the men's Survivor Series elimination match between Team Raw, which is Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, and Ricochet. Nice team.
Mm-hmm.
Against Team SmackDown of Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Ali, fucking Shorty G. Jeez, come on. And Braun Strowman versus Team NXT, which we don't know, they haven't listed yet as Team NXT's roster. I like the Raw team here, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, the Raw team is so much better. I mean, Shorty G and Ali. I was really hoping that they were going to have that they had the match with Rude and Diggler to get into the main match. I was really hoping that something was going to happen to get Diggler and Rude in there, and they didn't. So yes, SmackDown team stinks, and Corbin's my guy. But that SmackDown team is terrible. So, yeah, I root for Team Raw over here. I think Team Raw gets the win, too, because it has Ricochet on it. And like we always are saying, Ricochet is kind of like they don't know what to do with him, but they don't want to have that kid lose, really. So.
Well, yeah, he's kind of gone kind of middling the last couple months ever since losing the title to AJ Styles over the summer, the U.S. title. So, I don't know. But, I like the Raw team to win here. I don't know. The SmackDown team is decent, but it's whatever. It's actually outside Braun Strowman. It's actually Team Hogan from Crown Jewel.
Yeah, and the other thing is much like Sasha Banks, Roman Reigns needs a win. So.
Yeah, I guess so. I think. I don't know.
Especially you could say it's clean or not, but Corbin pinned him. In their last go around, and it was you could say it was interference or whatever the case is, but Corbin did pin him. So. Which shows a lot of faith that they have for him being I think the big dog comes out on top.
All right, here we go. Men's Tag Team Championship, three-way championship between the Viking Raiders on Raw versus the New Day on SmackDown versus Undisputed Era NXT. How much of NXT you actually watched?
0 to none.
Undisputed Era was pretty good though. They're really fun to watch. They're more than anything else. They're four-man faction. So.
Yeah, and it's. And like I said before on Twitter, I can't even tell these guys apart. They all look the same.
Well, Adam Cole's a long-haired guy. Was it Robert? Not Robert. I don't know. Whatever. Fucking. That being said,
exactly.
I'll be honest with you. I think Undisputed Era wins this match. They have a lot more to gain than anybody else in this matchup.
It's like one of those matches because, New Day, I'm tired of them not really knowing what to do with New Day. It's them and the Revival back and forth every week. I'm tired of that. I hate the Vikings run right now because the Vikings don't fight anybody.
Yeah, it's true.
They literally fight jobbers on TV and waste everybody's time, and it's so pathetic. I hate when they do this because they're doing that now with Eric Rowan too. They have Eric Rowan just fighting a guy who's like half my size. It's just, I don't understand why they do this. They did it with that loser that they were promoting, and they ended up shelving him after he got hurt. I forgot his name now, that idiot that they found racist tweets from and stuff like that.
Was it Lars?
They did the same thing with him.
Lars something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he gone now? I haven't seen him on TV since I started watching again.
Yeah, and good riddance. He was terrible. But, I hate what they're doing with the Viking Raiders because, I hope the NXT team wins just because I'm tired of the other two.
Okay, next one. You have the mid-card champions between U.S. champion AJ Styles versus Intercontinental champion Shinsuke Nakamura versus Roderick of the era here, of course. Mid-card champions. I'm going to take, honestly, I think it'd be a little surprising. I think Shinsuke can gain more from this match than anybody else here, honestly.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. I think AJ Styles steals the show because AJ is, pound for pound, the best guy on the roster, AJ Styles. But yeah, I think Shinsuke pulls off the victory here because, like you said, he needs it more. And that's the good thing about these Survivor Series matches. It's three-way matches, and whoever wins, no one's going to really remember. Because they don't matter to the storylines really going further. It's really just a nice exhibition, so does the case that you give it to Shinsuke.
Especially this year, too, with the NXT TakeOver. I think once they finish, they stop this, they'll go back to normal again. So I'm with you there. We have the women's championships, the women's champions here between Becky Lynch from Raw, Bayley from SmackDown, your favorite, and Shayna Lee. I'm going to take Shayna here.
think that's going to be a popular pick. I think because she's the face of the whole thing, they're going to have Becky win it. They're not going to have Becky lose to the face of SmackDown or the face of NXT. Becky is the main draw. I think they have to have Becky win this, and I think it would be dumb to make Becky lose any match unless it's a championship match at this point because it's just stupid. So I'm with Becky. She's the face of the whole unit right now. So I can't.
The way to go is actually have Bayley win it because no one expects Bayley to win anything in here. But that would be the shock way to go is to put Bayley over like this. But of course, that'll piss you off.
I think Blazer is going to be the one that people leave talking about. There's always like when Sasha had the Hell in a Cell match, everybody was talking about her like that. Like you could lose the match and still be the most popular person in the match. It happens all the time, and I think that's what's going to happen with Shayna Blazer. I think Bayley's just terrible all around. Here we go.
The Universal Champion is Daniel Bryan. This is gonna be a good one. It should be a good one, actually. I think. One thing I noticed they're doing with the Fiend, that they're keeping him off of TV because obviously he's not great in the ring, and they only use him for like the pay-per-views and whatnot. Here's my question here when it comes to this. Will this be another match of in the red, like in the red, the dark and the red background?
I hope so. I hope that's the Fiend thing, that when he fights it's all red and it's all like a haunting thing. I actually disagree. I actually like Bray Wyatt in the ring. I just don't think they have him doing anything because, like, I think I told you, they have him more like he's a guy in an 80s horror movie. Like, he just walks and you can't hurt him kind of thing. I like Bray Wyatt in the ring. I think he's one of those dramatic guys. He sells everything well. I think he's good in the ring. And I think Daniel Bryan's one of the best technical guys in the ring. I think it's going to be a great match, but at the end of it, they're not going to have – it's going to be tough to see Bray Wyatt lose. You could say the third or fourth, fifth face in the company, lost to him straight up in Seth Rollins. The fans love it. The fans love this gimmick. The guy doesn't even have to wrestle week to week, and he's going to get the most pop. So as a bad guy too, as a straight up bad guy.
Well, yeah,
so I'm all about Bray Wyatt over here.
But I will say this: it seems that Daniel Bryan is officially a babyface again.
Yeah, he won't commit to it.
I did too.
What sucks, man? I really liked him as a heel, man. I thought his mic skills were better. Yeah, I think his mic skills were so. I didn't know his mic skills were that good because as a face, it's corny, But yeah, I thought as a heel, man, he was great. I thought he really hit his stride there. I'm sad if they end it. I'll be mad because I think he was probably top five. He was a top five heel in that company.
Kind of like a last minute thing that is signed here. Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. Could he get another a month out of this rivalry? I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
They have no importance for Bray Wyatt. It's insane. Not for nothing. You know what they could have done here, and that's what I don't get. It's a Survivor Series. Everybody's doing these takeovers and interrupting everybody's shows. Bray Wyatt would have been perfect to go into NXT and give someone the mandible claw and leave. He would have been perfect to go to Raw. Guess what? I don't know why they don't use him for anything. And you're talking about at the end of the NXT show, if Bray Wyatt came out and put Adam Cole in the mandible, the crowd wouldn't go apeshit. Even if he's not fighting him, it's just because of that brand thing. I thought that would have been genius. But once again, WWE writing, man, it's very,
and
very
the main event, or I guess the main event, the WWE Championship between Brock Lesnar as the champion versus Rey Mysterio. No holds barred and no DQ. I have a funny feeling that Mysterio's going to win this match. I don't know why. Lesnar should win this match, obviously, but I got a funny feeling they're going to put the belt on Mysterio. I don't know why I'm thinking this. They need something to... They need something shocking. I don't know why I'm saying that.
Because you're an idiot. I can't see it at all. Brock Lesnar, I think this match is over in 10 minutes. 10 minutes might be too long. I think Ray, because you know what it is? It's one of those things that I think you and me talked about. The Giant said it.
Paul White? Big Show?
What's his name? Tell the guy's name, the wrestler, whatever his name is. Yeah. Yeah, Paul White said the worst thing he ever did was take a bump for a little guy. I can't see Brock Lesnar taking too many bumps.
Been in the business 20 years now. It's different. One thing you did it way back when you first started out, but not now.
Yeah, but remember, he's in the business forever, but his whole thing is being the beast, and it takes 11 stops in the head to knock him out.
Because
and you're going to see the guy who just ended Kofi Kingston's reign in 5 seconds is going to lose to Rey Mysterio? Because it'll be too much of an
No,
inconsistency
because
for
there's no
even
DQ,
me or
though. That's what I'm saying.
WWE
They
to
may
play
have
off.
some interference coming. Like maybe Kane Velasquez involved in the match, or somebody from his past gets involved in the match. Maybe that's why. Kane Velasquez.
Kane? Really? Kane?
No, not
Oh, I think you meant Kane, like the Undertaker's brother. Nah, I don't think they ever use Kane Velasquez again, to be quite honest.
Series card and predictions from me and G. G, thanks for doing a quick one with us. Appreciate it. Let me go.
No doubt. I would tell you good luck this weekend, but I hope your team gets fucking destroyed this weekend.
Oh, fuck you, man.
All
right,
right,
buddy. I'll see you. Have a Thanksgiving. All right, buddy. Be good.
You too, brother. I'll talk to you.